Hello there, party people. Last night I saw Wreck-It Ralph. I've taken my sweet time to see this film, but I definitely wanted to get it seen, just because I thought that it would be a slice of nostalgia for me, because they definitely, in all of the commercials, the posters, all of the media, the advertisements, they focus on that nostalgia to get that older crowd in there, and that's, again, I will admit that's exactly what got me in the theater. I was overall let down. Again, that may, definitely is my own fault for having some expectation. Anticipated this film slightly. It's not that I'm really a gamer. I may video game no, I definitely don't video game as much as the next guy, because I know a lot of guys who that's pretty much all they do in their free time is game. That is not me. It's never been me, just because I suck at video games. But, I grew up with the characters that are referenced in this film. So again, I was hoping for that, giant pastel, foggy-lensed slice of nostalgia. And I didn't get it. It was okay. I'm giving the film a 6. I think along with Brave, it led the nominations for the Annies. The Annies are, the year-end awards for all the animated films that came out. I don't particularly pay attention to the Annies just because I don't care for their taste. They nominated Wreck-It Ralph for Best Picture. They nominated Hotel Transylvania for Best Picture. Hotel Transylvania is a terrible film. It shouldn't be nominated for anything. It should be nominated for Razzies and not Annies. And this film is not that great. So again, I don't know what the Annies are doing, I don't know who controls that. But I don't really think they're saying anything meaningful. The problem I had with the film was there was no drama. There was no tension. There was no excitement. I had no feeling. I laughed occasionally. I did get a taste of nostalgia. But mostly I just kind of sat there and wondered when it was going to be over. I think I genuinely said that to myself at one point. I was like, I'd really like to go home. Can this movie be over so I can go home now, please? It just didn't end. I didn't hate it. There was parts of Hotel Transylvania where I wanted to leave. I wanted to get up and out of my seat and then to leave the theater. I never, even thought that once, but I was just like, come on, let's get through this. Just because it was so slow. And again, things happened to propel the story. There was no movement. It just, I don't know, it just was boring. It was boring. What I liked about it were the visuals. The character designs were all cool. All the voice talent was outstanding from what I remember and recognize. We have John C. Reilly, Sarah Silverman, Jane Lynch, Joe Latruglio. Who else was in there? Oh, Jack McBrayer. Yeah, okay. All the voice talent, very good. Very good performances. The colors, I really liked. Anything you see is beautiful. It looks like a video game. I really enjoyed the way the characters behaved according to their own video game, even in terms of movement and attitude. I enjoyed that individuality where, in a conformist world, I guess I didn't say what it's about. Wreck-It Ralph is about a video game character who, again, everything happens with no passion. You know, it just does. You know, he feels slighted because he's the bad guy. He never gets any respect, any love, because after the games are turned off and humans aren't playing them, then they're just chilling out. But yet in Wreck-It Ralph's game, you know, the hero is praised nightly, whatever, and he sleeps in a dump and is hated, ignored. You know, we never see him really try to do anything except here. You know, apparently he spent 30 years in this video game and just slowly getting more and more depressed without ever, you know, for 30 years he's just been content to sleep on a pile of trash. And now all of a sudden, you know, he wants to do something. And then, so they say, you know, you're never going to get a medal. And so he goes to get a medal and gets trapped in another game, meets also another character who doesn't feel she belongs in the game, a glitch. Then there's this bad guy who's just barely, you know, painted. And what I mean by that is his character. His character is barely introduced. He just has the slightest of backstories. I didn't care much for the bad guy. I even thought he was a ripoff of another character that I'm still trying to think of. Again, it was good looking, well performed, had some original ideas, at least in terms of, you know, the way that we let video games into our lives, what video games mean to us. But mostly I was just bored. You know, again, I wanted it to be over so I could go home. And I don't know what else to say about it. But I'm definitely glad I saw it. There was a person who, you know, recommended this film to me, so I'll get to talk with them about the film. She liked it a lot more than I did, so we're going to have some issues there. But, yeah, I don't know. If you're a fan of... and I was disappointed because that nostalgia that dominates the advertising. I mean, there are posters out on the streets that don't even feature Wreck-It Ralph or the other main characters. They feature video game characters, you know, from the 80s. And they are only in the film very briefly. Some even only have one line, and, you know, for the rest of the film we are, you know, they're in games that don't really exist. You know, one's a Mario Kart style game, another is, I guess, kind of a Halo, whatever, Metroid inspired game. But again, the advertising is unbalanced. You know, it's unbalanced. It's unfair and unbalanced. So I don't know. I felt kind of cheated in that aspect. And you know, pop culture references do abound. I always think that kind of dates a film. You know, in especially those Shrek films. You know, not that I watch, you know, Shrek a lot, but I can remember like last Christmas, or maybe it was the summer, going home and with my little nephew watching one of the Shreks, and it was all pop culture references that in 10 years, I mean, they barely made sense then, but in 10 years, they're not going to make any sense, which, why would you even watch the film? Especially when all the humor is like based on that pop culture references. They managed to avoid that here, but not all the way. So, you know, it's whatever. I think that's an easy laugh. You know, referencing pop culture, and, you know, it's easy. You know, it's something we can identify with and, you know, relate to and find funny right then and there. And it's timely. But in 3 years, ain't going to be so timely. So I don't know what else to say. Whatever. I never am disappointed about really spending time in the theater, but I was definitely ready to get out of there. I was ready to get out of there. So whatever, is okay. Is okay. So that's Wreck-It Ralph, and I'll give it a 6. Whatever. A 6 is. I would feel guilty if I gave it anything less than a 6 just because of the artistry. It did look fantastic. So there you go. Wreck-It Ralph, solid 6. Thanks much.